How soon after that did you talk to Dick Trabolsi? You know who I'm talking about, don't you?
It's the leader.
Tell us who he is.
I believe he's the leader of Texans for Lawsuit Reform.
He sent you a text, didn't he?
He sent me a text after I resigned.
A text of support?
I got many texts of support. He was one of them, yes.
Where are your texts, by the way?
I don't keep texts.
What do you mean by that? You don't keep texts? You deleted your texts?
After I left the Attorney General's office, when I'm no longer employed at the Attorney General's office, I didn't keep texts.
You didn't think anybody might want to look at your texts?
I adhere to a zero inbox policy. And I think anybody who's ever worked for me knows that.
Is that right?
That's right.
So just so we're all clear, and everybody's watching is clear, you were having conversations with the leader of Texans for Lawsuit Reform, who was showing support for you after you'd went to the FBI and resigned, right?
I had one text message that I received from Mr. Trabolsi after I resigned.
How did he have your phone number? I thought you weren't the kind of person that would talk to people like that. How did he have your phone number?
A lot of people have my phone number. Probably General Paxton gave it to him at one time.
You know we do have some of your texts, don't you?
I mean, I'd assume you do if others produce them. Yes, sir.
Yeah, we don't have any from you because you say that you delete them. Tell me how you delete them, by the way, because that seems like a challenge. How do you delete every text that's sent to you?
I look at email, I look at texts every day, okay, within a 24-hour time period. If it requires an action, I then note it as a to-do item. If it's unrelated to anything, then I delete. That's been my policy for a year, sir.
Wow, you worked for the government, right?
Well, this was after I worked for the government.
Right, after you were no longer working for the government, you deleted your texts. Is that what you're telling me? Or you delete them real time?
I delete them basically real time within a period of time.
Did anybody else in the office do that, or was that just your practice?
Well, the other person that probably did that was the Attorney General.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so.
Did he have a burner phone, by the way?
You know, someone mentioned that to me at one time.
Who mentioned that? You read about that in the newspaper?
No, I don't think I read about it in the newspaper. It would have either been Mr. Wicker or Mr. Rylander.
Mr. Ricker didn't mention it to you because he was questioned. He said he didn't know what a burner phone was. Who told you that he had a burner phone?
Again, my best recollection would have been Mr. Wicker or Mr. Rylander.
Did you ever see a burner phone?
I know the Attorney General had several phones. I don't know, what a burner phone.
You know what a burner phone is. This would be a burner phone. You can go to 7-Eleven, you can buy it, you use it for a certain amount of minutes, you throw it in the trash. That's called a burner phone.
Okay.
You ever see Ken Paxton with a burner phone?
He had a flip phone.
Did you ever see a burner phone? One that he bought at 7-Eleven so he could do some sort of illicit business?
I don't know, sir.
Okay. How about a secret email address? You ever see him with a secret email address?
He had a Proton email address.
Didn't you have a Proton email address?
I sure did, yes.
Oh, goodness gracious. So he had the same kind of email address that you had.
Okay.
We've been told that's a secret email address, but you had the same kind of email address, didn't you?
I think a lot of people had them.
Sure.
I think your co-counsel has one.
They do have it. You know why people use a Proton email address?
Because I know why we did, because we were concerned that Google might be monitoring our conversations. We were investigating Google.
Right. And also Ken Paxton and several others went to China and they wanted to make sure that their email did not get hacked, right?
Okay, correct.
But yet this board of managers, the House of Managers, claims that that's some kind of secret, weird thing to do, and everybody in the office was doing it. Isn't that right?
I don't think everybody in the office was doing it, but there were some, yes.
Sure. Now, back to your texts. Just so the court is clear and the jurors are clear, your testimony is when you receive a text, if it needs action, you note it, and otherwise you delete it.
That's correct.
And you still do that now?
I do.
Well, the good news is Mr. Brickman didn't have that same practice. Let's look at what is marked and in evidence AG 170. And Eric, if you don't mind, go to the page is Brickman 187. Let's put it on the screen so the jurors can see it. What we're going to look at, sir, is a text string that you were on with Brickman and several others, okay?
Okay.
I need you to speak into the mic, please.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Eric, let me know when you're ready. Go to 187, Eric. We're looking at it, AG Exhibit 170. $187. All right, here's a text you sent at 3:02 p.m. on 9/29/2020. Is that right?
That appears to be correct, sir.
You said, we have a major problem. The kid has served a subpoena on a bank, showed up there in person at the bank, right?
That's what it says, sir.
And you were thinking in your mind, why the devil was he serving a subpoena on the bank? Nate Paul's complaint has to do with the FBI, right?
That was one of the things I was thinking, sir.
Because you had no clue that there had been a second referral, true?
I did not know there was a second referral at this time.
Is this the first time that you had found out that the kid, you're referring to Brandon Kamick, right?
I am referring to Mr. Kamick there.
And you didn't say, hey, Brandon Kamick, you said the kid. Everybody knew who you were talking about, right?
That's right.
Okay. So Kamick wasn't a surprise, was he?
Kamick wasn't a surprise in the sense that we knew who he was. That's correct.
Sure. And you actually got a copy of his contract too, didn't you?
At some point I got a copy of the contract, but not through the DocuSign, no, sir.
Right. I mean, I know and we're going to talk about your bureaucratic procedures, what did you call it, your executive action memo? What do you call it?
Executive approval memo.
Yeah,
memorandum.
executive approval memo.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Some procedure and writing put in place of how things should work at the AG's office.
That's what it was, yes.
Right. It's in some policy manual.
It's a policy, yes.
Okay. It ain't the law, though, is it?
No, it's not the law.
No. The power of the Attorney General derives from the Texas Constitution. Is that not true?
From Texas Constitution and Texas law statutes.
The Constitution is what gives the Attorney General the power to act. Isn't that right?
The Constitution and the statutes passed by the legislature, yes.
Your power to act, if any, derives directly from the AG. Isn't that right?
It's derived from the AG, but it's also derived from the statutes.
Yeah. You're not authorized to take his name off his letterhead, are you?
Am I authorized to take his name off the letterhead?
I'm sorry, is that a question? Or
I'm repeating your question to make sure I understand it. Could you restate it?
I can absolutely restate it. You, as deputy, as first assistant, are not authorized to remove your boss's name from his letterhead, are you?
I don't know if that's true or not.
Did you not look? I mean, aren't you a lawyer? Isn't that something you better look at before you do it?
I don't recall doing it, sir.
You don't recall sending correspondence with the Attorney General's name removed?
I do not.
You wouldn't have done that, would you?
By implication of your question, it must have happened, but I don't remember.
Oh, it happened. My question is that legal?
I don't know it's illegal.
Well, did you check before you guys were sending correspondence without your boss's name on it?
I didn't personally check, no.
Well, I thought you were a rule of law guy. Isn't that what you told us? I'm a rule of law guy.
I am a rule of law guy.
Okay, rule of law guy. Is it legal to send out correspondence without your boss's name on it? Official correspondence from the AG's office?
I don't think it's illegal, no.
You don't think it's illegal?
I do not.
Is that how you decide your legal analysis is by just whether you think it is or not?
No, it's supposed to be based upon what I believed and what I know about the law.
Well, what do you base that on? Why don't you
what I believe is, what I do recall is before I became first assistant, the prior first assistant, actually one of the complaints that the Attorney General had with the prior first assistant was that the original letterhead didn't have Mr. Paxton's name on it.
So you knew that the official letterhead, according to General Paxton, had his name on it. That's what he insisted upon, right?
Well, he insisted on it. I don't know about the word official.
Mm-hmm. And yet, you were party to correspondence where his name was removed.
That I don't know, sir, but if you're saying that, then I must have been.
So let's make sure we're all clear that you did get the contract, because it's in the text even. Eric, turn to same exhibit, AG 170. Go to Brickman 180. Vassar texted you a copy of the executed contract, didn't he?
It looks like on October 1st.
Yep. Did you go back then? Was that the same day you met with the FBI?
No.
What day did you meet with the FBI?
I believe we met with the FBI on the 30th, sir.
Okay. So did you go back to the FBI and say, hey, you know what? I made a mistake. There actually is a contract. My boss signed it, and there's a second referral. Did you do that?
Not on October 1st.
You went to the FBI uninformed. Isn't that true?
No, I wouldn't say that, sir.
I just want to try to get the timeline, because the jurors may wonder. You spoke to the FBI about, what do you call it, a good faith belief that a crime had occurred? Is that what you said? Did you go to the FBI with a good faith belief that a crime had occurred? Is that what you told us?
That's correct.
Okay. And that was on October the 1st?
No, sir.
What day?
That was on the 30th.
September the 30th?
Yes.
Okay. That's when you called Mr. Sutton before that, right?
I didn't, no.
What?
I had not, no.
One of you did?
I believe that's true, yes.
Okay. One of the group called Mr. Sutton before that, right?
I believe that's true.
Okay. We'll get to that in a minute. But so on September 30th, you went to the FBI and you made your good faith complaint, right?
We told the FBI the knowledge that we had.
Did you then go back and give them a copy of the actual signed contract from the duly elected Attorney General?
I did not.
You did not?
I did not.
Did you go back and tell them, hey, you know what, there was actually a second referral. It didn't even come into our office. It, in fact, went directly from the DA's office of Travis County directly to Brandon Kamek? Did you tell them that?
Not on October 1st.
Did you tell them at some point?
I think at some point we did tell them that.
Did
Yes.
they indict Ken Paxton?
As far as I know, they have not.
Okay, so let's try to get our timeline right. That was September of 2020, and this is September of 2023. It's been 3 years.
Your math is correct.
So in 3 years, they've done nothing with the information that you provided them. That's the subject of this impeachment, right?
I don't know what they've done, sir. You
Well,
ask them.
Well, they certainly are pretty good about letting us know if somebody's been indicted, aren't they?
That's your area. I would assume